So what are constraints in RDBMS software? Right? If you take any RDBMS software, there is something called constraints. Okay. So what exactly the constraints? Constraints are nothing but the rules. So we define the rules for the columns. Okay. So that we can prevent the unwanted data get into the table columns, right? For example, you want to insert the data or you want to modify the data while inserting before even the data gets loaded in your table or any of the columns, or if you want to make any changes right before even you insert the data, before even you modify the data. So, so what we are doing is we make sure that by defining the constraints for the columns, we are preventing those kind of issues. For example, we have not null constraint. So I don't want to have a null value, in a specific column. For example, employee ID supposed to be a not null. Each employee has been given or assigned with the employee ID. If you go to join, if you join any company, right, employee ID will be given. Okay, so in that case, the employee ID is the unique constraint or the primary key constraint. Okay, so in that case, if you allow the applications or the users to enter the duplicate record or duplicate employee ID or student ID, later point in time when you query the data, it will cause confusion. Okay, so for that reason, before even you insert the data or modify the data, we use so with the help of the constraints, we can restrict the users or restrict the wrong data get into the table. So there are 6 different constraints are there in SQL Server. Okay. So as I told you, constraints are the rules enforced on the data column of a table. So SQL not null. So this one will prevent the null values getting to your columns. And you have the primary key and then foreign key. So foreign key is used to allow us to establish a relation between two tables or so. Okay. And then unique key, the unique constraint. So this is a unique constraint. Okay. This is to ensure that no duplicate will be inserted into a specific column, like the primary key. But the difference is unique ID column allows only one null value. Okay. Whereas the primary key column, it will not allow any null value. It should contain only the unique values. But whereas in the case of unique constraint, here also the same thing. You are not supposed to duplicate values in a column where you have defined it as a unique constraint, but you can have a null value. But here there is no null value allowed. Okay, and then next one, the check constraints. So this one will allow, or this one will allow only certain values for the column. Okay, based on some condition. For example, you have something like salary column. The salary column should not contain 0. It should be greater than 0. So while inserting the data, make sure that the salary column do not have 0 in it, right? So before you insert the data, make sure that the salary column, right, for a specific record also, it should not have any null value in it. In case of null value or in case of any 0, you can define your own rules here. Okay. So right, by defining the rules proactively, we can make sure that the wrong data is not getting in there. Okay. And anything greater than 0 means salary is greater than 0. So let's say your data contains a negative value for the salary. So in that case, what will happen? It will reject. It will throw an error. Okay. The next one is the default constraint. So, sometimes you may have to insert the default values. Okay. If the user do not specify any value for a specific column, for example, you have something like a joining date. You have an employee table, whereas you have the joining date column is there. So wherein if you don't specify the date explicitly, it by the default constraint, what it does is it assign the system date. System date is today's date. So the date when you enter the employee details in your system, so that date will be picked up automatically. Sometimes, right, for example, a couple of employees joined yesterday, but those entries are missing. I did not come to office yesterday. I was on leave, and today, I'm going to key in all the values. So in that case, if I have to specify explicitly the joining date. If I don't specify, it will take up the system date, today's date. Actually, they joined yesterday, but here it will take, the today's date. But here, if you specify the data, it will get, it will be overridden. Okay, if you don't specify anything, the default is system date. See, usually, whenever the employees joins in our company, what we do is we key in their data on the same day. Okay, rarely it will happen. So in that case, right, you can override this, default constraints also. So we have 6 different constraints. Not null constraint should have, value in it. The null values are not allowed. And primary key column also, say the primary key column is a not null constraint. It can, right, so it should not have duplicate values. It should not have null values. Foreign key. What is foreign key? To create the relation between two tables, you can use foreign key. Okay, to establish the relation between two tables, that is when you want to use, you can use the foreign key, and the unique key constraint used to ensure that no duplicate values like a primary key inserted into a specific column, but a null value is allowed. The check constraint will allow only certain values based on the rules that you defined it while creating the table, so that is while creating the table. Okay. Any questions? Okay. What is the difference between primary key and unique key? That's what I said, right? That the primary key will contain only the unique values. Same way, the unique constraint column will have the unique values, but the difference is the unique key column, apart from the unique value, you can specify only one null value. Okay, so what kind of scenario that I can get the null value? For example, the employees, right, who have just been hired might not have been assigned an off and the email address yet, right? So let's, the same day, let's say you joined today, but the email address may take some time, the office email address to create the office. So in that case, it should allow the email column blank, right? So just become, but at the same time, the email should be unique. It should not be duplicated. Your email ID should not be given to others. So in that case, they can see your, there is no privacy, right? There is, there is a threat for security. And some cases, what will happen? They contract, employees. They might not be provided with company email address. So you have to enter all the employees' detail, but contract employees, we don't create the email ID. So in that case, it should allow you to enter the null in that column, but it will allow you only one null value there. Okay. I will show you everything in the system. Okay, so we have 3 types of the operations we perform in SQL. One is the DDL operations. Once again, see now I'm in my database. On the left side, I just click on the plus and it will get expanded. I go to somewhere here, demo DB or something like that. I'll just, I just expand this one and tables. Employee table, everything. So, okay, what I will do is I will just go with the test T2, test 22. Okay, so now I want to, I will show you how to, create tables. For example, so right now I am going to click on the new query to create a new query window. Okay, it's already there. I opened it, but I want to create a new query window. I just clicked on the new query. The query window is ready now. Okay. And here, as I told you, there are 3 types of, scripts that you can write it. One is the DDL, and then the DML, and then the DCQ, data control language. Okay. So DDL stands for data definition language. So DML stands for data manipulation language. And then the last one is your data control language. DCL, data control language. So here I just use the current database because we have so many databases. First, I need to select the database. And I have the script here already readily available so that we don't have to make any syntax issues and all. Okay, for example, how to create a table here. Create table. This is the reserved word, keyword. Followed by that, you need to specify your table name. Okay, the table name can be anything, but give meaningful name. Okay, even custom to is not the correct name. Just for example sake, I just put it here. And inside the parenthesis, you need to specify the column name followed by that you need to specify the data type. So here I mentioned about integer and here varchar 20. So the 20 is the width of this column. Okay. And varchar is the character data type. Yesterday I explained to you what is the difference between char and varchar. So usually we use the varchar because it takes care of it automatically, right? Dynamically it allocates the space for the number of letters in the name column. Okay. So the next one is this is the one, right? So connect to the appropriate database, select the database. Then we usually what we do is first we drop the table, but don't ever you do this one. Okay, don't ever use drop table. Once you drop it, it is gone. But the DBS database administrator, when you say their script, when they create the database first time, right? So they use these tables first time. Okay, drop table, depart to employee table, everything. Okay, and then they create the new table. Okay. So now what? This is the syntax for the table, the create table, followed the table name, and inside the parenthesis column name, integer, not null. Look here, this one constraint. So not null is one of the constraints. Look here, this is what I discussed a while back. Not null. This column, if you try to insert the null value, it will not work. If I insert any null value here, it will not work. It will throw an error. So that you can make sure that the depart number column should contain some values because that is the unique key column, right? So next one is the department name, varchar of 14 and location varchar of 13. And here, if you see that here, I have defined the primary key. Okay, you need to tell explicitly which column in your table should be a primary key. So in this table, the primary key column is depart number. Okay, here you don't have to specify the not null. If you want to define any specific column as a primary key, you don't have to specify the not null explicitly. Okay. When you use the primary key on this column, in this case, the depart number, that is enough. So when you use primary key, primary key keyword. So in this case, the primary key we want to create on depart number. So by default, we'll create not null constraint. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll just copy this one, right click on it, copy this, and then I will paste it here. So this is called data definition language. So all the create table scripts are falling under this one, the data definition language. Look here, the commands completed successfully. Okay. Now, if you go to the left side and if you can refresh it, and if you expand the tables, you can see the depart table. Look at the depart table, dbo.depart. dbo is the schema name. Okay, the default schema name is dbo. Okay, and the next one is, and if you want to see the columns that are available or got created, right? So you need to click on the plus sign next to the department table, which you created, and then columns, you need to expand it. You can see that the key icon next to the depart number PK, that means the depart number is the primary column. It is a not null and is an integer data type, but the primary key column can be integer or it can be decimal also, okay? And the depart name, let's say these are the null column, but this is a not null because here I did not mention not null. Followed by the department name and location, I did not specify not null. Only followed by the depart number, I mentioned not null. But even if you don't specify the not null for the primary key column, if you decide to create the primary key on this column, right, you don't have to specify explicitly, but anyhow, right? So it is not wrong, but it is not mandatory, okay? Okay, next I will create another table, the employee table. Here the create table. This is the reserved word. Followed by this, I specify the table name and open parenthesis. And then here the column name and the data type. Okay. And the date, look here, I mentioned about date data type, and the salary, this is a decimal data type. Since I mentioned decimal, and 7, 2, right? The width is 9. Of the 9, 7, 7, the 7 digits are integer part, and the remaining 2 digits are your decimal part. Okay. And the constraint, look here, I have created the primary key on the employee number column at the end of it, but or you can specify it here itself. Okay, but this is the process. Usually these are, they follow it to create the constraint. You don't have to specify constraint name and all. You can give directly the primary key. Okay. But if you give directly primary key later point in, if you want wrap a primary key, right? So it is difficult, little bit challenging. Hence, it is always best practice. You need to define the constraints using the constraint name. Okay, the constraint keyword. Okay, constraint name. You can give the custom name. You can give whatever the name. So here we are creating the primary key on the employee number column. Hence, right, I have given the meaningful name PK underscore emp number. See, later point if you want to drop the constraint, alter table employee, drop constraint name. That is enough. Okay. And the next one is the foreign key constraint. See here, I already created the table called department table. Okay, in this case, the employee tables depart number column will references to the department tables depart number. Very good. Look here. This is my employee table and this is my department table. So in the employee table, when I create the depart number column, okay, this column should reference to the department table's depart number. One second. So in this case, the depart number. When I see, I am going to see in this case, right, in our example, this is the foreign key. I have created a constraint, foreign key constraint for the department column that is available in employee table, which references the department table's depart number. That is what we mentioned here. So the constraint depart number foreign key, right? So this is the foreign key, the depart number column in this table, employee table. One second, in this table, the depart number column. So in the employee table, the depart number column is the foreign key, right? So it's the foreign key, but it references the depart number column in my the department table. Okay, foreign key depart number. Okay, so and then sorry, look here, the entire syntax is there here, right? The 2 lines. So the constraint name, this is for our understanding, but actual constraint name is foreign key. Okay, this is the reserved word. Okay, and then inside that you need to specify the column which you want to use it as a foreign key. So in this case, this column in this table is a foreign key. This one references the department tables depart number. You need to specify it. It's plain English language, right? Very easy to understand. But make sure that you first create the department table and then you create this employee table. But you can create the employee table without creating the department table without the constraint. But if you have to create the employee table with all these constraints, this table should be there, right? So the depart number, because you are using the references here, the foreign key constraint, this is called foreign key constraint. Okay, so this the depart number is in this case, though this column is part of my employee table, the values for this column comes outside of this table. Outside of which table? Department table. Which column? Depart number. From the department table, depart number column, whatever values are stored, that value only should be allowed here. That is what it says. Foreign key constraint. Okay. And next one is that's all. And sometimes, right, let's say you have forgotten creating some unique constraint, or in this case, yeah, we don't have phone number. Let's take another example. I'm going to create another table, employee two table. Look here, I just created the table. There is already object name employee. Okay, employee three. I just mentioned the employee three. Yeah, the employee three table got created. Fine. Okay, if you refresh it here on the left side, you can see that one. And you can see that employee three just now we created, that is what we can say. So now I created the table. Later I realized, man, I have forgot to make this phone number column as a unique constraint, right? So for that, so after creating the table also you can add the constraint, but you need to use the command alter table, which means modify the table, alter table employee three. Add constraint. I'm going to add a unique constraint. In this case, phone number is not a primary key. Okay, it's a unique constraint. Okay, so add constraint name, unique phone number. Unique is the reserved word. Okay, I'll just make it uppercase so that. Yeah. So you might be asking this why these things are in uppercase. So that is the best practice, coding practice. Okay, we follow. All the reserved words should be in caps letter. Rest of them can be a smaller case, but the object name, for example, this case, the table name is employee three. The first letter is supposed to be caps letter. Okay, rest of them smaller case. Here also, it all depends, right? You need to check with your customer before you start with the coding. Ask them the coding standard document or naming standard document. They will give you. Okay, you need to download and see what naming convention they followed. Based on which you need to do that. Okay. So now I am going to add a constraint to the column phone number which I created earlier. You already know object. Okay, this is also already there. Okay, and hence I just renamed it. Look here, a new constraint got created. So on the left side, if you go here, employees three, and if you see here columns, what are the columns are there here? You have all the columns, that we can see the employee ID, first name, last name, email, phone number, everything we can see it here. And the keys, when I expand the keys, UN key, the one which I created here, it is there. Okay. Because already I have created a unique constraint, by the name of, this thing, except one. Okay. For the other table, that's why it was saying that key is already created. Okay. See, look here, M1. Previously, I created for the employee two, but employee three, what I did, I renamed the constraint name for the unique constraint. Just I included one. I put a suffix one. Okay. So this is how you can create table, and also the constraints you can define it this way. In case you first created the table and then later on you want to add the constraint, you can add it this way. Not only unique constraint, even primary key constraint also you can add it later. Okay. I just show you that one also. Look here. Employee three here. I am going to say, for example, I just say primary key constraint. Here I just say primary space key. And I just say the employee ID. I just click on it here, right? Copy this, and then I'm going to replace this. When I click on execute, and then down nullable column. Okay, this one has nullable column. What is that? Nullable column. Cannot define when going to nullable column table employee three. I did not insert any data. Oh, maybe right. So okay. So you need to specify not null here. But in Oracle and all, right, you don't have to specify upfront. So what I do is I just drop the table. Now it got created. Yeah, so it is not that, right? It is not an optional thing, right? So whenever you create a primary key on a specific column, you need to define it explicitly as a not null column. This is specific to SQL Server. In Oracle, you don't have to do that. Ideally, in SQL Server also, they should have done it. Okay. Anyhow, this is going to be employee ID is a primary key. We are going to define it later point in time as a primary key. Hence, not null is not required here. But anyhow, in SQL Server, you need to do that way. So now you understood. After creating the table also, you can create the constraints. What are the required constraints, right? You can define it later also. So primary key, you need to use the primary key keyword. To create a unique constraint, you need to use the unique keyword, okay? And the check constraint I add it here. For example, in my case, here, I've created all the constraints as part of the table definition itself. While creating the table itself, I defined all the constraints. But here, for the salary column, I want to include an additional constraint called check constraint. Okay, alter table. In that case, you need to alter this. So see, one option is we can drop this table and recreate it with check constraint. Okay, but I don't want to drop the table again and recreate. I don't recreate it again. So already table is there. I want to modify this table. That's all. Okay. So in this case, I just modify the definition of the table. Okay, and here salary sal column is there. Inside the check function, you need to specify sal. So what will happen is if any users yeah, why alter shows highlighted man? You cannot find the object employee. Second. No, did I not create this? I think I created it. Oh, there is a syntax issue here. Okay, I did not use. I think somehow I removed that one mistakenly. Let me see. Yeah, now only I created it. Okay. So I created the table. Now I'm going to. So after creating the table, I realized, man, I want to add a check constraint for this sal column. So what is the purpose of check constraint? Those of you joined late, right? The reason why we use check constraint is before even we insert the data into this table, right? We are creating some rules. We are using the constraint to enforce some rules. So in the sense, the salary column, when I try to insert any negative value, it will throw an error. It will not allow me to insert the data. Okay. Proactively, we wanted to reject the data. So it is something like, you are inserting all the negative values. Later point in time, you wanted to clean up the mess, right? I don't want to do that in the retrospective way. Instead, before I insert the data into the table, I wanted to check whether the selective columns should meet up with some specific conditions, right? If the salary column contains the salary is greater than 0, then the data will get inserted here. If any record that has salary is less than 0, it will throw an error. So I just click on the execute. So you can see that this constraint also got created. Here, look here, if you want to see all the constraints, so my table is employee 3, and you can click on the plus sign next to the constraints. And then I just refresh this, but it's not showing here. Let me do one thing. Alter table. Okay. There is an old record. Okay, in the database. It should be there. I don't know why it's not displaying it. Okay, one second. This is employee 3, right? Sorry, employee table. I just did it in employee table. I need to check it there. Okay. The employee table should be there here. Why employee table is not visible? So look here. So sometimes, right, even though you create the table and when you don't see any error, on the left side, when you see it, under the tables, you will not find the table. Hence, you need to make sure that you are clicking on the refresh. Okay. Now the employee table is visible, expand it, and then constraints. If you go and look at the check constraint which I created, it is visible under the constraints. Got it? Yeah. And you can see the keys, everything here. Okay, the primary key and foreign key, all the things you can see it here. And if you expand this one, you can see all the columns. Okay, it's that much simple. Okay, so whatever we have seen so far is called DDL script, data definition language script. Okay, and the next one is what? Yeah, okay. We have the employee table is ready, and the department table is also. First, what I'll do is I'm going to use a begin end block, so that all the 4 records, these 4 records will get inserted into my depart table. The depart table I already created. So what I did, I just created the table. Only the structure is there. We need to load the data. So what I did, I am using the insert statement. So how to insert the data into the table which you created, You need to use insert into. This is the reserved word. Followed by that, your table name which you already created, or which table you want to insert it at. That table you need to specify. Followed by that, you need to specify values. Insert into table name, followed by values, and followed by that into open and closed parenthesis. Inside of this, you need to specify the values for each column of your department table. How many columns are there here in the department table? Depart number, D name, locate, right? So department number. So this is your depart number. The 10 is the department. So this value 10 will go to your depart number column. The D name, right? So in that department name column, this value will go in there, and this is your location, LOC, right? The location column, this value will get inserted. So what I did, I put all the insert statements inside the begin end. Okay, this is also called as a block, right? Batch. So what will happen is when you wrap your script around, by the begin and end, right? Begin and end. What will happen is entire insert statement will be sent to your SQL server in one go. Okay, fine. Now I just want to check, whether all the values got loaded successfully into my department table. That you can see it here, the completion time, everything here itself. And here, right now, select the department table. Right click on it. Select top 1000 rows. Look here, just a while ago, whatever the records, 4 records which I inserted it using insert into statement got loaded successfully into my department column. So department table. Okay, similarly, now we need to insert the data into employee table. So what I'll do is I just go here and then I'll pick up all these insert into statement. But when you insert the data into a table, make sure that, for example, in your table, you have 10 columns are there, or 8 columns are there. For all the 8 columns, you are supposed to specify the values. But sometimes, right, you may not have some values. For that, you can put null, N-U-L-L. But for example, I have 8 columns. 8 columns should have some value. Even if you don't have value, you need to use the null explicitly. Otherwise, it will throw an error. 8 columns are there. When you try to insert only the 7 column, it will throw an error. 7 column value only when you try to insert, it will throw an error. Hence, if you have a 8 column in your table, insert 8 values for the appropriate columns. The column orders also matters, okay? And then look here, I'm going to select all the things. I'm going to execute it. You can specify inside the begin end also, or you can specify this also, but the begin end is good because it will submit everything, in one go, okay, one batch. So all the records got inserted. Now I click on the employee table, right click on it. I'm going to select the top 1000 rows. I can see the records which I inserted here. And only few employees, they have the commission value. Rest of them, they don't have commission, null values. They're fine. So I click on this one and I just go back to the first one. Okay. We are done with creating a table and creating the constraints and modifying modifying or adding constraints after creation of the table. Also, we have seen how to do that. And you can use select star from employee also. Instead of clicking on it, right? It takes you to the next screen. Instead, you can specify the select star from employee. Okay, when you query this one, So now I know, I see just a while ago, we created the table constraints and inserted the data. Now I want to view the data. Select star from employee, you can give it. Or you can click on the employee column, right click on it. You can click on this, it will take you to another window. But here itself, if you want to see it, you can use select star from employee. Look here, all the columns, all the rows, you can see it here. Is it clear? Okay, fine. Select star from employee. What is happening here? When I use select star from employee, it shows all the records, all the column in my table. I don't want to see all the columns or all the rows in a table. For example, I want to I want to view only the selective columns. So I'm going to use select. For example, I want to view only the specific column. Which column? Okay, well, what I'll do is I'll just say name, employee name, and then I just say job and sal. Sorry, not SQL cell. Yes, SCL cell from employee. So which table you want to view which column? Followed by the select keyword, you need to specify the list of columns which you wanted to view it. Okay. You don't have to give, if you just give star, it will give all the columns and all the rows. And especially if you have 100 columns, you don't want to see all the 100 columns. Okay. And also selecting all the columns, especially the table that consists of huge volume of data, it will literally slow down your performance. Hence, make sure that you are selecting the columns, whatever the columns that you want to view the data, right? Only select, list down those columns followed by the select. And followed the from class, you need to specify the table name. That's all, guys. The syntax is something like this. Select column 1, column 2, etc. from the table name. Name job sal from employee. So this is the one will give me only the columns that I want to look here. I don't see all the columns. I just want to see only the subset of the columns that is possible here. Subset of the columns, right? So I just want to view the subset of the columns. Similarly, I wanted to view the subset of the row from I don't see all the rows for these 3 columns. So now what happens? So for these 3 columns, I can see all the rows, 14 rows. I don't see all the things. I'm going to use some condition so that only the subset of rows I can see it here. Okay. Here, where from employee, where job equal to, listen, I'm going to say clerk. I want to see the employee name and their job and salary. Only for the clerk, I just click on it. Look here. So only 4 employees are working as a clerk. And what are the salaries? You can see it along with their name. So here, select star from, it will give me all the columns, all the rows. What I did, I just subsetted the columns by selecting only the specific columns. I don't need to see all the columns. And also what I did, I went one step further. I just selected only 3 columns like the previous query. But here, I restricted the rows also. I applied the filter where job equal to clerk. Show me only the employees, those job or clerk. Those job is clerk. So in this case, the 3-4 employees are working as a clerk. And what is their name and salary, all the things you can see it. So here I subsetted the columns as well as the rows. Okay, and we have something called we have something called exec. So I think you must be remembering this one, exec, right? Execute is to, this keyword is used to execute a stored procedure as part of Power BI. When I covered about the SQL query, right? Sorry, SQL, so how to connect to SQL server from Power BI and how to invoke the stored procedure from Power BI, right? That time I use this command, exec stored procedure. So there is a built-in stored procedure. You don't have to write any stored procedure. Microsoft already did this. And here I'm going to say the employee table, okay, or the employee, sorry, I will say employee table. So execute. So what this one will do is it will display, 1 second, execute in the code. Look here, all the columns that are available in the employee table. You might be asking this one, so why should I use this one here on the left side? I can see it here. But sometimes you want to, see in a more detailed way, right? So the width of the column, data type, and length, precision, scale, nullable, okay, and fixed length and collation, right? All the things you can see it here. And then the constraints, everything. Look here, the primary key constraint is employee number column, check constraint, all the things you can see it here, okay? So execute SP help employee. This is the, the built-in stored project created by Microsoft that is already available to view the structure of the table. Okay, execute, followed by that the query. The other alternatives you can go here and check, but here you need to click on each and everything, right? To see the columns, you need to expand here. To see the keys, you need to expand here. But here it gives you the holistic view. Which one? This one. And then, for example, you want to select the top 5 records in a table. Okay, select. Instead of, see, the default one is 1000, right? So I don't want to see all the 1000 records. I just want to see the top 5 records from employee. But again, I don't want to see all the, the thing, right? Select the top 5. Next to top 5, you specify the column name, e-name, job, sal from employee. That's all. Sorry, not SQL, SAL. SAL is the column name, right? So sal. Look here. Top 5. How many records were there in this table? 14 records were there. I don't want to see all the 14 records. I just want to see the top 5 records. Yes, that is possible here. Okay. See, this one is really helpful when you work with huge volume of data. But remember that in the real world scenario, you are going to work with huge volume of data, millions and millions of records. In that case, right, don't use select star from table name at any cost. Okay, use top 5 or top 100, top 50, something like that, so that it will not slow down the performance. Okay. So this is really helpful in that kind of situation. So always use top 5, or you can use some condition like this. Not necessarily you have to use top 5. So you can use some condition so that only the subset of the data only be selected instead of selecting the entire thing, right? So only the subset of the column will get selected. And this is to view the, where is the top 5, right? Top 5 is to view the top 10 or something like that. Supposing you want to view the bottom 5 or bottom 10 records. Okay, I just say, top 10. Okay, in here we have only 15 records, right? Sorry, 14 records. Here, what I do is, here I'm going to say select e-name from job from employee, order by the emp number, right? So the emp, what is the primary key emp number? Primary key column is emp number. I'm going to use the emp number as the primary column. Descending order, I'll put it. And offset, we have something called offset 0. And rows fetch next 10 rows only. So what is this one? What is this one? Here, the 1 second. So in this case, order by, we are doing order by the primary key column descending. What will happen is, see this part, right? I'm talking about this one. This part, what it does is the third row, okay? And it orders the records by primary key in the descending order, okay? And the next one is the offset 0 rows fetch next 10 rows only. So this part of the query offsets the 0 rows, which means starting from the first row and fetches the next 10 rows. And it effectively limit the results to the last 10 records based on the ordering specified, right? That is what is happening. I just click on this one. Sorry, it gives me everything here, and here the offset, okay. Yeah, so you can use the offset, this one. This is little bit tricky here. Okay, and here the order by class, what it does is okay, here instead of this one, offset 0 rows, fetch, yeah, fetch is correct only. Okay, fetch next 10 rows only. So here the lowest employee ID will be returned here. So ideally I should have used the employee number. Okay, let me do one thing, emp number, because we sort the data in employee number, right, in descending order. So that way, right, we are doing the last one. So last 10 records based on the employee number. Okay. So the employee number descending order, you know what is the descending order, right? So descending order, the highest value displayed first, second highest value, and third highest value, fourth highest value. Since I have sorted the data on the employee number column by, with the descending order. So the top, in that case, obviously the last 10 records it shows, right? That's how it shows. Okay. Mm. See here, this is kind of a reserved word, okay? Offset 0 rows, right? So offset 0 rows is in a kind of a reserved word. So what this one does is, right, it will select, yeah, so basically what it does is, right, it will limit the number of records, okay? And fetch next rows 10 only. See, up to this you are clear, right? Okay, up to this you are clear, right? So descending order, okay? The descending order, you're sorting the data in the descending order of your employee number column, right? So when you use offset 0 rows, we don't skip any rows before starting to fetch the result set. Okay, we are not going to skip any rows before we start to fetch the result set. That is what offset 0. In this case, the offset 0 is nothing but this line. What it does is, right, no rows are skipped, so that the query starts from fetching rows from the first row of the result set. From here to here, right, it will not skip any rows, but you have to use offset 0 rows. So, with the whole idea of this one is no rows will be skipped. Okay, when you start the descending order, right, you sorted the data in descending order and you want to fetch the next 10 rows. In that case, while fetching the next 10 rows, it is not going to skip any rows. Okay. For example, if you want to skip, the next 5 rows only, right? I just click on this, only 5 rows will be displayed. Okay. So it will not skip any rows. You don't want to skip any rows. For that reason, yeah, you have to use this when you want to see the last 5 records. In the intro, they may ask this because most of them, they know what is top 5, top n records. How to view the last 5 records and last 100 records. So you can say that select column names from employee from table name, order by the primary key column name, descending order, offset 0 rows. And but in this case, obviously your primary key column is supposed to be a numeric column. Primary column can be a numeric data type or the character data type also. If it is a character data type, it's difficult. Okay, you cannot use the script because obviously the descending will not work, right? So that requires little bit you need to break your head little bit, okay, on that. So to display the last 10 records or last 5 records, if your primary column is alphanumeric column or something like that, okay. Fine. So with this, you have understood, with this simple example, you understood how to display last n records. N is nothing but you can use whatever, okay? You can replace the next 5 by, so display first n records, okay? So now we have explored that one. Let's go ahead and see what other queries that we can use it. What other things that we can use it? Top 10, bottom 10. Yeah, so we can use the inequality operator also, right? So here, I just copy paste the query here. And where salary is greater than inequality filter. For example, here, I just want salary is greater than something like 2000 or so. I can use it. Yeah, fine. Here I mentioned about order by. You may not be aware, first of all, what exactly the order by, right? So what I will do is with this example, I show order by is nothing but sorting the data. Okay. So this is how we type the queries. Okay. First is select line, second line from class, and third line your where class if you have any where class. Okay. And here I'm going to sort the data in ascending order on the salary column, order by salary column descending. So that you can view the top highest salary displayed first. Okay. First highest salary. Look at the first highest salary is 5,000. Second highest salary is 3,000. And third highest salary is also seen. Right. So likewise, you can see it here. Okay. And so you can use the greater than sign, right? And along with the order by is nothing but if you want to sort the data in ascending order, descending order. Default one is the ascending order. You can specify the ascending, descending order explicitly if you want to see the data in descending order. So descending order of my sale column. Supposing I want to display the employee name in ascending order and the salary in the descending order. How can I do that? How can I do that? Simple common sense. Can you please type it quickly? Here, okay, what happens when I sort the data in descending order on the salary column? It is doing perfect job. But the employee names are not in the alphabetic order. I want the employee name to be in the alphabetic order. And so, so that's how I want to do it. How can I do that? So I just use e name and here ascending order explicitly. Okay. And salary is descending. So when you sort the data in descending order on the salary column, make sure the employee numbers are displayed in ascending order. So what I will do is I'll put go here. And here also so that we can compare both together, both queries output together. And if I click on this, look here. So the second query, what it did, it sorted the data in ascending order on the employee name column. And then the salary column, it sorted it in descending order. Okay. So ideally, if you use the, instead of the employee name, right, you can use something like job. Okay. So that within that job, specific job, it makes sense. So instead of the employee name, you can use the job in the ascending. For example, within the manager category, who is getting highest salary, right? So in the previous case, right, you can do it for the employee name column, but that doesn't make any sense, right? But when you sort the data of your job column in the ascending order and the salary column in the descending order, you can see that in the same job category, who is getting higher salary. So these two guys are getting same salary, but in the manager category, Jones is getting higher salary, right? Second highest salary drawn by Blake and president and so on. Okay. So these are the queries are, very much helpful in the real world scenario. They may expect you to do something like this. Okay. And what other things we can see it now? We will see the date column. Okay, I have the date column here, right? Yeah, date, higher date is there. So how to filter a table using the date column? Okay, I just use the same thing here in the interest of time. Here, the where clause, I'm going to use hire date. Hire date, those employees got hired, more than this date. So hire date is the column name. Make sure that you are giving the proper, typing the proper column name. And here the hire date is something like this, right? This is what I inserted it. I just select, copy, paste this one here. Sorry, I just select this one and Control C and Control V. Yeah, if I do this one, let's see what happens. It is not, yeah, it is showing, right? So anyhow, we will display the hire date also, hire date, so that we can cross verify it. This is not required rest of them. I just, click on it. So those employee got hired, after 1981. So, right, this query is working fine. Very good. Right. So you can see 1982 and 1917 November. This is, after November, right? December. We don't see anything 17 November or, less than 17 November, right? Everything is above 17 November 1981 only. It selects. This is how you can filter the table with the date column. So here I simply specify date, month, year. Okay, you need to check, on what way the data got stored, but this one works fine. Okay, but here when you see the data here, the year displays first, and then month, and then the date. Right. So by default, what happens? Year, month, date format, the data gets stored. But to filter the data, I can use it this way also: date, month, year. Okay, supposing I want to see, those employees got hired between so and so date. This is fine, above, after 17 number, fine, but I want to see between. So higher date, here, what we will do is, between, there is something called between. I'm not sure, yeah, between will be there, yeah, between should be there, okay, where, higher date, between 17 November to the 8, and I think so, and you need to use and, yeah, and what other thing? November, yeah, January 83. Those employees got hired between these two dates. You just show me that. Okay, but it shows some syntax issues. Where higher date between and it's correct only. Here I did not put quote here, right? That's why it is not showing it. So make sure that the date, whatever you use it, right? So put it in, put the, the string correctly. If you don't put the, make sure that you are enclosing it with both the, the quotes, right? Start with the quote, end with the quote. Otherwise, it will, show some error here. So now what I'll do is I'll just execute. So now look here, very good. So 1981, anything above, right? So between 17 November 81 to 12 Jan 83, those employees got hired. You can use between operator. You can use greater than, between, or greater than or equal to. How do I use greater than or equal to? I use this one. 17th November and above 17 November, whatever is there, it will show here. Look at 17 November 1981. There is a data for this, right? 17th November 1981, which employee got selected. After that, whatever the employee selected, got recruited, you need to show them, right? So that it works fine. And here between 17 November, all the things. Yeah, the president also it shows, right? 1711. And, between this is the range of dates. You can specify the range of dates or range of values. You can, use it, with this one. And also you can use the between for the numeric column also, where salary between is a reserved word, and it is good practice you specify the uppercase for 2000 and 3000. So the between and these two are, so whenever you use between, you need to use and, okay? The range of values between 2000 to 3000. Those employees getting the salary you display. Got it? Fine. So this is how you can query the data. You can combine between with greater than and other things. And apart from this, we have in operator. Okay. So something like for example, I just say this thing here, and here yeah, we have something called in operator. Instead of using between here, where higher date in, let's say you want to view, see in this case, what happens? In this case, those employees we have hired on 17th November 1981 and above display all the employees. But here between this range also fine, but I wanted to view only 3 specific dates, not all the thing, okay? So, and only these 2 dates. So in that case, in operator, you can use it. So one way is higher date is equal sign. You can specify that, but with equal sign, you can specify only one date, right? And again, and higher date is equal to, instead of giving and multiple time, you can use the in operator. You can query this one and look here. The 17th November 1981, which employee got I know, then 12 Jan 1980, which employee got the in operator helps you to select with the appropriate values. And again, based on the specific values, if you want to select the records, right? More than one filtering condition if you want to specify, right? So in that case, you can use this one. And apart from this, we have something called like operator. Okay, we have something called like operator. Employee where salary, okay, where salary is greater than 2000, or where e name like, so listen, e name like percentage, or Jane is there, right? Yeah, Jane. I saw someone Jane percentage. So display all the employees whose name starts with JA. Okay, James, only one guy, name starts with JA percentage. Percentage means the first 2 letters. So those employees' name start with JA, you display it. Supposing you want to see, right, you just want to see only all the employees whose name starts with J, just specify J. Look here, in this case, 2 guys' names start with J. But if you wanted to, check, the, are there any employees whose name starts with the JA? It is there, but only one employee is there. But if you have more than one employee, it will show that one. Okay. But here I just mentioned J here. So only one, so with those employees' names start with J. So here you need to specify J to check, those employees' name starts with J. If you want to check those employees' names end with S, after percentage, you need to specify that one. For example, here, right, the yes is there. So followed by the percentage, if you specify yes, all the employees whose names ends with yes will get displayed. Look here, these employees' names are ends with S, right? Those employees' names starts with J. You can specify their first letter, and followed by that you need to specify the percentage. And if you want to check, those employees' name ends with you can specify more than one letter also. Okay, for example, here ES. Okay, so don't show me all the employees whose name ends with S. Instead, you show all the employees whose name ends with ES. That is also possible. Look here, Jonas, James, right? That is also possible. So like operator is very much helpful. And the percentage is kind of, the wildcard operator. Okay, wildcard operator. And you can use like, and you can also use not like, just before like you put not. So like is an operator. This third word, what you do is, you can use the caps letter. And for example, I want to negate, this one. Not like means, except, those employees' names end with yes, ES, display the rest of them. Look at all the employees. But can you see ES, those employees end with ES? No, right? It excluded the 2 records. So overall, we had 14 records. Of the 14 records, 2 records got excluded. So likewise, right, see, lot of blogs are available in the net. You can start practice everything. Okay, so right, so SQL is it's kind of, it's going to get outdated. So now, the advanced NoSQL database are popular. And now the latest trend is vector database. You have something called Facebook, something, okay? The vector database, this is the one gaining a lot of popularity. In the case of generative AI, the performance is super fast when you use the vector database, okay? So any of these are the, things will become outdated, and you can see, you can get a lot of help from the internet also, okay? And the other thing is, for example, instead of, so you have like operator and not like, and you can use between or not between also, you can use it, not between, okay, and in, not in, you can use not before all the operators also, not in. So those employees did not, those employees joined not in this date. You can put not. Look at it, works. Fine. So you can use not wherever it is required. So not between, you can use it. And greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, all the things you can use it. And then you can combine more than one condition also, okay? And the salary between, and between and is a range of values. Along with, you can put one more value also, okay? And again, and you can specify, okay? Order by also we explored. So order by is helpful to do the sorting the data and all, right? So that you can do it. And apart from this, you can use minimum, maximum also, that we discussed yesterday, right? And you can use a single query. You can specify min of cell, comma, max of cell, average, I think so, average, yeah, AVG function. There is something called average salary. You can use average salary from the employee table. Sorry, I clicked another window. Might open this one. Let me close this one. This is not required. I'll just close it. And even this one is not required. Yeah, this is the one, right? I just click on execute. Okay, but here it gives me the minimum salary is 800, maximum salary is 5,000, and the average. But here you can use the as clause. As give some, meaningful name, right? Some minimum salary followed by as, you can say max salary, and followed by this, you can say the as average salary, so that it will give the column name for each built-in functions output. Okay, so minimum salary, maximum salary, all the things you can see it here. And then we have something called distinct function. For example, select distinct job from employee table, unique value. Okay, so only, these are the unique values. Okay, if you want to display the unique value, from a table for a specific column, you need to first specify, followed by selector, you need to specify the keyword, another keyword called distinct, and then you specify the column name. Okay, so if you see the data, select simply without using distinct. If you do this one from employee, it will display all the rows, including it will have the duplicate values, because more than one employee is working as a salesman, manager. But end of the day, if somebody is asking you, can you, give me, how many jobs are there, or how many departments are there, or how many job positions are there, how many job positions? Tell me the unique job position. Analyst, clerk, manager, president, salesman. More than one manager will be there. More than one clerk will be there. But tell me the job position. How many job positions are there in total, right? So you can say, you can use the distinct function. This, it will give you the unique value. So distinct is very much helpful to see the unique value, everything. And also you can explore. I would encourage you all to explore the internet to see what other commands are there, right? You can just check it out. I covered almost everything here. Okay, sometimes, right, you may have to you see followed by the where clause. We specify all the filtering condition, right? Salary between, this is also filtering condition. And here where clause is used to filter the data. Where clause is used to filter the data. So here I filtered all the employees whose name end with ES. Here I filtered all the employees whose name start with J. If I put not like here, except the employees, display all the employees except their name starts with J. You can specify the filter condition followed by the where clause. Okay. And also what you can do is you can use another query. Okay. You can use a subquery also to filter the data. For example, if somebody is asking you, can you give me the employees, whose salary is greater than the average salary drawn by each, the employees, right? So for that situation, we can use the query. For example, I just salary, where is that? Yeah, this is the query I'm going to use it. I want to find out, which employees are getting the average more than the average salary. Okay, so we know how to find out the average salary, isn't it? So this query shows you average salary. You just remember this. What is the average salary? 2073. Okay, and here I can specify 2073, right? So 2073. So if I say greater than, obviously 2073.214 will come, right? So display all the employees whose salary is greater than the average salary, overall average salary. Okay. These guys are drawing the salary more than the all the employees average salary. Okay, all the employees average 2073 point something, right? So this one, if you say, but instead of hot, this is called hot coding, right? If you type the value here, so what will happen? After 1 month, let's say this query you are firing it after 1 month. What will happen? So what will happen is, June month, the May month, you recruited so many people, but you put this value explicitly here. This one is up to April month. Up to April month, what is the average salary drawn by all the employees in my company? Okay. But June month, when you fire the query, what will happen? It is not appropriate because this value is average salary drawn by all the employees in my company is 2073 by April month. By June first week, if I fire the query, what will happen? Up to April, those employees' salary, was more than this one, average, more than the average salary, it will show. It is not the correct way of doing it. Instead, we can make this query more dynamic. Here I just say in subquery, I'm going to use subquery, select max of salary from employee or the average salary. You can use this one also, employee max also. I want to see which employees are getting the salary more than the maximum salary. So maximum salary only 1%, right? Correct. So here both the queries output are same, right? Both the queries are outputs are same. So here are 6 record, here are 6 record, the same value. What is the difference here? Here I have odd coded the value. This is not a best practice. To overcome that, I use it. So after 6 months, when you execute the query, what will happen? So it goes and checks the average salary as of that date, and then it will compute the average salary. So let's after a few months, right, the average salary will not be same, right? It will be like 5,000 something like that. So in that case, automatically 5,000 will get replaced here, and those employees' salaries greater than the all the employees' average salary 5,000. That one will display here. If you cannot understand this, you need to watch my video, right? So in the interview, they'll ask you this question. Almost all the interview, you can see this. So how do you display the second highest salary? Second highest salary, how can I, display that one? Okay. So for that, we have different approaches. One approach is I use select this, top one cell as, let me do one thing here. I just say second highest salary. This is the interview question. And also they will ask you to write this query. So here double quote will not work, right? Single quote. You need to use single quote. Whenever you use any text, right, you need to use single quote. And here from, I'm going to use another parenthesis. Here I'm going to write another query. Okay, select distinct and here top two salary column from employee table. Order by the salary column, descending order. I'm going to close this one as salary table or something like that. Okay, salary table or something like that. And then I'm using order by salary ascending. So what this query will do? See, distinct function will be the unique values, right? So in this case, the distinct unique values will be, top two distinct values from the salary column will be selected, and then it will sort the data in descending order. So when I use top two, what will happen? First two records. But in this case, we are sorting the data in descending order by salary column. So obviously the top two highest salary will be there here, right? The unique salary. And then, right, what in the outer query, of these two, you display the first record and sort that by ascending order. So what will happen is it will give you the 3,000, right? This is the thing. Second highest salary. If you want to see the the salary data in ascending order, for example, here I use the same thing here. I just remove the top two salary descending. What it does. This is the first highest salary, second highest salary. If I remove top, what will happen? Top two and all, if I remove, display the salary in descending order. Okay, all this. So here, all we need is the top two highest salary. This query does that, but in this queries, I have used the distinct column. Okay, in case of same, this, in case of any duplicate, right, it will exclude that. Okay, so this one, this is how in the real world scenario, you need to write the query. What you do is first write a simple query and then see what happens. You break the logic into multiple chunks. First you check, this is called subquery. Execute the subquery and see what is the output. Okay, with this you can understand. It gives me the top two highest salary. Very good. But what is the question asked by the interviewer? Of these top two highest salary, display only the second highest salary. The second highest salary 3,000, right? It doesn't want to see the top two, but you want to see only the second highest salary. So what I did, the inner query will have these two values. The outer query, what it does is, it uses the top one. And that means the first record only will come. But in this case, the first highest salary will come, but our requirement second highest salary. What we are doing is smartly order by salary, ascending order. Sort this data in ascending order. Hence, the 3,000 will come up and 5,000 will display in the second row. So the inner query will have this data here. Okay. This data, we are sorting it in ascending order. After you sort the data in ascending order, and if you select the first record alone, what you will get? What you will get? Okay, thank you. Sakshi says excellent. Okay, thank you, right? So that is what is going. So this is how you can select the second highest salary. This is the interview question. Most of the interviews, they'll ask this question, okay? Even senior guys, when we attend any higher position, right? The technical round is it. Technical round, even we pose this, these kind of questions. So second highest salary, but you have an assignment. Now you try other different ways how you can select the second highest salary. It is also called as nth, nth highest salaries. In this case, second. Okay, if I ask you the third highest salary, what you will do? What you will do? Try the third highest salary. Okay, or nth highest salary. Is there any way that I can make it generic? Instead of displaying only the second highest salary, is there any way that I can display 15th highest salary or 16th highest salary or 12th highest salary or 5th highest salary? Can I do that? Okay, that is an assignment. Give it a try. Okay. So you have the liberty to do the Googling, everything. You just check it out. Okay. Next one is the data manipulation language. What is data manipulation language? Insert the data manipulation language. So it's nothing but insert the data, update the data, delete the records, insert the records, update the records, delete the records. So insert the records, we have already seen it, right? This is the insert into employee name values. This is the one. If I want to make changes to a specific column, that is possible with update statement. Let's say I inserted the data, later point time I realized, I want to make some changes to my data, not the structure of the table. In that case, you can use update, and or if you want to delete the record, some records, right? I don't need it. So you can use delete from table, it will delete the records. Okay. And these are called your data manipulation language. It's very simple one. Insert statement is there already. And all you need to just, okay, let me do one thing. I don't disturb the existing data. I will create another table, employee 2 or employee 3 is there. Okay, let me do one thing. Insert into employee 22. This is the table I just created. In fact, you don't need training on this one because you're all matured people, right? So all you need is you need to be a goal-oriented people. Get into a job, okay? That is what your thing. Fast track like Strayas, fast track, fat, do it. So here, look here. Certain things you don't need a train. Look here, select from employee. Here I have inserted only one record to show you how to update the. For example, I want to update. I want to modify the department name. Okay, update I just want to modify the department. Update the table name. Followed with the update, you need to specify the table name. Employee 22. It is already there, and where class you need to use it. Guys, make sure that whenever you use update, you have to use the where clause. So what happened, my project leader, in spite of me giving a lot of instruction, he ignored the delete statement, sorry, where statement, and he sent it to the production team. Thank God, one guy found it there, but the very next day, our life became miserable. The entire team life, because the customer escalated in the update statement, they did not use where clause. How careless these people are, because had I not seen the this specific line, and when I executed, then what would have happened? The whole table would have got updated. The update is a very expensive operation. Always just think, we are working with millions of records, guys. Okay, even though I give one record, two record, right? You just imagine this table has 1 million records. If you simply give update and so you have something like, you don't have to give set update. Sorry, update set. Okay, what is that? Yeah, I just changed the department. How come department is coming here? The employee. Oh, department admin. The default one is admin, right? Okay, okay. Set department is equivalent to finance. If I give this, and then it got updated. If I select this, what will happen is, look here, it got updated as finance. Here I'm using only one record. In my table, I have only one record, right? Remember that you have millions of records. In your table, you have millions of records. What will happen is, when you give this command, 1 million records, department name will get changed as a finance. Hence, it is always mandatory. You need to use the where clause along with the update statement. The set command is helpful to see, followed by the set, you need to specify what value you need to use it, which value you want to update in which column, that you can specify it here. Okay. But the where clause is very much helpful. See, in this table, which column you want to make changes. In the department column, I want to change it as a finance. The department column values, I change to finance. In the employee 22 table, okay. And for which employee, this is where, very much important, where employee ID is equivalent to 1. For this employee alone, or you can use employee ID in 1, 2, 3. Whenever you use in, inside the parenthesis, you need to specify 1, more than 1, 5, 6. Those employees belongs to finance team. You can specify. Either you can use in operator, or you can use. So, for example, in this case, I want to, change only this employee to department, finance. This is very much important. Okay. The where clause is very much important whenever you use the update statement and the delete statement. So this is called your data manipulation. Insert into the this one, and the update is your another data manipulation language, DML statements. So here I'm going to show you another one, the delete. Delete from employee 2, employee 22. If I give this one and press F5, records with 1 row affected. So, and if I do this, nothing is there, right? Nothing is there. It got removed. The records got removed. Even here, you need to specify where clause, where employee equal to 1. So, update and delete statements, always make sure that you're using where clause. Even in the development environment, use where. It's always a good practice. If you forget to specify where clause, you will suffer like me, how I suffered in my thing. Okay. So what happened just before that, we had one escalation, and followed by somehow we convince them. So henceforth, we are not going to, we will do a thorough review. We do the testing is very much important. Okay. And then we promise them we do their, testing rigorously. Very next day again, the bombshell fallen on our head. So what will happen? Customer will lose confidence. Okay, delete from employee 22, where employee equal to or something. The employee is this example based on your table column name. Make sure that, right, always you use the where clause. Even in the select statement, you can use where clause. The worst case, if you don't use a where clause in select statement, it will literally select all the data. It will slow down the performance. At least performance will affect, but here performance also important. But here what will happen is, even in this case, if you don't specify, performance will literally screwed up. Okay, and then it takes a lot of time because everything is in the production mode. It's all time bound. This job needs to be loaded within 1 hour. If that goes beyond that, the customers will get irritated. Okay, the end customers, and they will penalize them. Okay, hence make sure that the update statement, delete statement, whenever you use a where clause. Even the select class also you can use where, but this one will have an higher impact. When you use delete from employee to, what happened? So it, literally deleted everything, right? Followed by that, you can specify employee ID 1 or something, some condition you can specify, where salary is greater than 1,000 or between something, right? You can do that. So this one works, but look here, 0 rows effect. This query is correct, syntax is correct, but make sure that you are using where clause for the update and delete. Fine, guys, with this, I'm going to wrap up. Tomorrow, we will discuss about the advanced concepts.